Mother sent the 40th anniversary gift list. A $15,000 trip, a new vehicle and diamond studs. The email arrived while I was working. Subject read, anniversary ideas. I expected flowers or a dinner suggestion. It was a horrific shopping mandate instead. My name sat in parentheses by every costly item. I reread the list hoping the amounts were wrong. They were not. My parents expected all 3 purchases. My hands literally shook. Heat rushed up my neck. That email was simply the start. I am Elara Vance, 37. 5 years earlier, no one would predict me running a national vintage furniture venture. I was broke then, recently divorced, grinding 12 hours daily just to save one small store. Now I own 2 locations, have a strong online presence, and possess unexpected wealth. I thought success guaranteed peace. It bought me responsibilities instead. My parents, Beatrice and Arthur, are retired. My younger brother Marcus, 34, is still searching for direction. Jessa, 30, posts brunch photos discussing her hustle, yet I cover her rent. I became the family's first call for emergencies or overdue invoices over the years. It began innocently. Mother's arthritis medication, father's car repairs. Slowly, gratitude morphed into entitlement. Monthly transfers never missed. $2,800 for their mortgage, $650 for Marcus's truck, $1,900 for Jess's flat. Over $5,000 vanished from my funds regularly. I rationalized it as family duty, feeling fortunate to assist. Closing the shop late, seeing invoices, I sometimes wondered why they never checked on me. When the anniversary email arrived, I tried staying composed. I called Mother, seeking clarity. "Mother, I saw the email," I said, forcing a chuckle. "Choose one item. I will handle it." She instantly responded, "Sweetheart, don't be ridiculous. We expect all 3. Her words felt like a sudden freezing shock. I lowered the phone, waiting for her joke. No joke came. She continued, speaking sweetly yet patronizingly. They were so proud of my success. A small display of generosity proved my gratitude for their efforts. I scanned my office. Shelves of antique clocks, the scent of wood and polish. This was my creation. Did she truly believe I owed them a luxury vehicle and a trip to Santorini? I wanted to scream, but my throat seized. "Mother," I finally managed, voice strained. "That total is excessive. I cannot purchase all 3. Select one, please." Silence followed, then a sharp intake of breath. "Elara," she stated, voice suddenly frigid. "After everything we did for you? You refused this one request." My stomach tightened. I recognized the familiar tone, the guilt strategy. Manipulated children understand this weapon well. I hung up before losing my composure. For 60 minutes I simply sat, watching the blinking cursor on a blank invoice screen. I felt small again, like a 16-year-old asking for autonomy. That evening, I convinced myself she was just overexcited. But I knew the truth. This was not a mistake. This was behavioral history. Morning brought a torrent of family group messages. "Marcus, come on sis. Just buy the gifts. They raised us." "Jessa, your weekly earnings surpass my monthly income. Don't be cheap for mother and father's anniversary." My chest tightened immediately. I had not mentioned the call. Mother had clearly preempted me. I typed a reply, deleted it, and threw the phone onto the sofa. Coffee odor filled the kitchen, but I felt sick. The looping phrase haunted me. "You're being silly. We won all 3. The audacity of that tone. At work, I focused on mid-century lamps, reorganizing a cabinet, polishing every brass handle, folding every receipt. I heard her voice repeating. By midday, I was drained, not by the work, but by suppressing my anger. Dawn, my manager, noticed my state. "Are you fine?" she asked. I forced a smile. "Just family issues." She nodded, pretending comprehension, but she couldn't possibly understand. Unless love was used to guilt you, you cannot know the feeling. It is like drowning while someone assures you it's beneficial. That evening, Mother called again. I waited before answering. "Elara, we discussed it. Your father concurs." Her tone was sharp, businesslike. "The vehicle is more practical than the trip, but we still expect the earrings also." "Mother," I stated quietly, "I informed you I cannot afford the total." She used the same condescending laugh that made me feel 5. Stop this. You can easily afford it. You are successful, darling. Do not create friction. Something inside broke, quietly but permanently. You demand I spend $50,000 because you feel entitled? Do not use that term, she hissed back. We gave you life. We supported you. It is your time now. I was speechless for a moment. The sheer nerve stunned me. Mother, you funded neither my education, my store, nor my starting rent. I built this entirely myself. Enough, she interrupted. You have changed. Money caused your arrogance. I hung up, my hands trembling. The phone immediately vibrated. More guilt messages flooded in. Mother is distressed. You crushed her heart. Father feels unwell. Are you satisfied now? My anger vanished. I felt empty. Years of quiet resentment solidified into a new, clear realization. By midnight, I sat on my bed edge. I scrolled through my bank app, reviewing every recurring payment I had made for years. Mortgage, truck, rent, listing sequentially. I knew my precise next action. I did not sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling as the phone's blue light pulsed. Each notification tightened my stomach. I finally sat up, placing the laptop on my knees. I accessed my banking dashboard. Scheduled payments lined the screen, orderly and automatic. They looked like silent contracts signed out of guilt. For years, I believed these payments were evidence of my love. Now viewing them felt like bondage. Parents' mortgage, $2,800. Marcus's truck payment, $650. Jessa's apartment rent, $1,900. I paused over the first, inhaled deeply, and clicked cancel. Then the next one, cancel. And the next. Each cancellation was like exhaling after years underwater. Once finished, I took screen captures of every cancellation receipt. I attached them to a single message in the family chat. Given my reputation as selfish and greedy, I assume you no longer desire my money. I hit send and powered off my phone. Silence descended. True, profound peace. No boozing, no guilt, no dependências. I brewed tea, watching the steam rise. I noted that my hands were steady. The next morning, I called the restaurant where I had reserved their anniversary dinner. Hello, this is Elara Vance. I need to cancel the Jensen party reservation for 30 guests. Certainly, ma'am, the hostess replied professionally. There is a 30% service charge. That is acceptable, I answered, smiling for the first time in days. After hanging up, I leaned back. Morning light spilled onto the floor. The air felt like freedom, sharp, clean, unfamiliar. I had revoked years of obligation with a few clicks. The world remained intact. By noon, the inevitable calls and messages started. I ignored everything. Fear was replaced by resolute strength. I was finally drawing the boundary. I understood this was just the prologue. The following morning, my phone resembled a disaster zone. 50 missed calls, over 100 unread texts. I made coffee and sat at the counter, scrolling through them calmly, as if reading a daily report. Mother, Elara, what have you done? Call immediately. Father, this is unacceptable. You cannot abandon family. Marcus, are you crazy? My truck payment is due tomorrow. Jessa, the landlord is threatening eviction. You must pay my rent. Every message reeked of panic. Not one offered thanks or apology. Their only concern was their loss. By 10 a.m., heavy knocking started. Through the peephole, I saw all four on my porch. Mother clutched her phone like evidence. Father looked pale. Marcus scowled. Jessa stood with arms tightly crossed. Elara, open the door. Mother's voice cut through the wood. I stood in the foyer, mug in hand, heart rate steady. Please, honey. Father's voice followed, shaky and practiced. We can compromise. There is no compromise, I stated through the door. You clarified your feelings about me. Jessa yelled. You're overreacting. We are family, and family does not label someone selfish after draining them financially. I retorted. They remained for almost an hour, voices pleading, cursing, negotiating. When Mother started weeping loudly, I turned up music on my phone until the sound was muffled background noise. The knocking eventually ceased. Tires crunched gravel outside. Silence returned. For 3 days, I heard nothing. I returned to the shop rhythm. The creaking floorboards, the scent of lemon oil, the quiet normalcy. Dawn noticed the difference. You seem peaceful, she observed. I guess I finally cleaned house, I replied, half smiling. But tranquility is short-lived in a family thriving on chaos. That Friday, while pricing crystal lamps, Dawn appeared. Elara, your parents are here. I froze. Show them in. Mother and father entered slowly, appearing diminished. Mother's eyes were bloodshot, her makeup smudged. May we sit? Father requested quietly. I gestured toward the chairs opposite my desk. Mother inhaled, smoothing her blouse. We erred in asking for too much. We agree we will accept one thing only. The trip, the car, or the earrings. Whatever you select. I stared at her for a moment. Then surprisingly I laughed. It began small, then burst out uncontrollable. They looked shocked. What is funny? Father demanded, frowning. You still don't grasp the situation, I said, wiping a tear. I am buying you nothing. 0 items. Mother's lip trembled. You are devastating me. Mother, I covered your medical costs for 3 years. I know your heart is physically fine. She gasped as if struck. How dare you speak that way to me? I am done speaking your way, I said softly. I supported you for years while you acted as though it was your right. That ends now. Father leaned in, urgency in his voice. What about the anniversary dinner? We already invited guests. I canceled it. I stated simply. You canceled it? Mother's voice rose sharply. We cannot uninvite 30 people. Then learn how, I advised, meeting her gaze. Or host a gathering you can genuinely afford. Mother started crying again, a hollow, theatrical performance. You are malicious, she whispered. I am liberated, I corrected. They departed in silence. I heard Mother weeping down the hallway. That weekend, my phone exploded again, but from the extended family. Aunt Maggie, your poor mother is destroyed. Uncle Ray, you are shaming them. Rectify this. Cousin Josh, how can you treat your parents this way after all their sacrifices? I stopped reading. Let them judge. They were not the ones wiring $5,000 monthly while being labeled ungrateful. 2 weeks passed. The day of my parents' anniversary arrived and finished without any communication from them. Curiosity led me to check Jessa's social media. A small gathering was posted. 10 guests in my parents' living room, using paper plates and cheap decorations. The caption read, a modest celebration for 2 wonderful parents. Some people forget family values. I genuinely laughed aloud. The pictures showed them smiling, surrounded by relatives, cake crumbs visible. No Santorini trip, no diamonds, just reality. For the first time, a strange sense of relief washed over me. They looked settled, almost joyful. Perhaps this simplicity was what they genuinely required. Life stripped of entitlement. However, my peace did not last. 2 months later, I returned home. Their old Honda was parked outside my gate. Mother and father stepped out, looking deeply worried. Elara, father stated. We need a discussion. I folded my arms. What is the new issue? We can no longer afford the mortgage payments, Mother said, her voice cracking. The bank will initiate foreclosure. I observed them. No fake sympathy remained. That's quite interesting, I noted. I paid your mortgage for 3 years. You should have accumulated $100,000 in savings. Father's eyes shifted away. We had various expenses. What expenses? I demanded. I also covered all your medical bills. Silence followed. Mother anxiously wrung her hands. We admit we failed to save adequately. Then sell the country property, I stated flatly. The one I purchased for you 6 years ago. Her head snapped up. We are not selling that. It's designated as our retirement fund. Then you will be moving in sooner than anticipated. Elara, please, father said softly. We risk losing everything. You will not lose everything, I replied, opening my front door. You will simply lose access to my money. Mother's tears began again, loud and utterly dramatic. You are completely heartless. No, I countered, stepping inside. I finally cultivated a heart for myself. I closed and locked the door, leaning against it, breathing heavily. Outside, only the sound of wind in the trees remained. No more pleas, no more manipulation. The following weeks brought news via the family grapevine. Jessa found a second job at a coffee shop. Marcus started taking extra shifts at his warehouse. My parents listed and successfully sold the country house for $85,000, exactly enough to settle their mortgage backlog. This was no longer about vengeance. It was course correction. Balance was being restored. One afternoon, while polishing Victorian mirrors in the shop, my phone rang. It was Marcus. "Hey," he started awkwardly. "I just wanted to say you were right." "About what specifically?" "About everything. I was lazy. I let you provide for me because it was convenient. I apologize." My throat tightened slightly, but I maintained a neutral tone. "I appreciate that, Marcus. Truly. I am working weekends now," he continued. "Saving money. It sucks, but it feels earned, you know? Like I accomplished something." I smiled genuinely for the first time in months. "I am proud of you." "Thanks," he responded quietly. "And I don't blame you for cutting us off. You made a necessary choice." After he hung up, I remained seated for a long period, phone still in hand. The anger and the hurt softened, replaced by a different emotion. Pride, not only for him but for myself, for breaking a destructive pattern years overdue. Later that evening, as the shop lights dimmed and the street glowed amber, a realization hit me. This was more than a family conflict. It was personal rebirth. A few months later, my aunt confirmed that my parents officially sold the country property. They utilized the funds to clear the remaining mortgage and established a small savings cushion. For the first time, they were operating within their income. No elaborate meals or shopping excursions. Just quiet, sustainable daily life. Jessa maintained her coffee shop job while climbing the corporate ladder at her firm. She stopped sharing images of champagne brunches. Instead, she posted about late work sessions and budgeting advice. One day she messaged me, "You were correct, Elara. Achieving this on my own feels significantly better." I read the text 3 times, then smiled. Growth inevitably follows pain. Marcus visited my store one Saturday afternoon. His hands were calloused. His eyes were clear. He had fully paid off his truck and was saving for his own apartment. "Remember calling you selfish?" he asked. "Yeah. I retract that. You saved us, even though we didn't deserve it." After he left, I stood by the window, watching his vehicle depart. Autumn light streamed into the showroom, catching the brass and glass items I had restored. My life felt uncluttered, finally, not just the rooms but my mind. Regarding my parents, closeness was not yet restored. They sent a Christmas card, pre-printed, simply wishing me peace. In an unexpected way, they had finally granted me peace. I occasionally considered that initial email, the gift list that triggered everything. I used to believe that moment marked collapse. Perhaps it was the moment everything finally aligned. The following spring, I signed the lease for my second location in the Beacon Hill district. The air smelled of fresh paint and adjacent coffee. Standing in the vacant space, sunlight hitting the glass displays, I realized this was the first time in years I was building something solely for myself, without inherent guilt, without accompanying strings. I thought of the email again. It once felt like a curse. It was now a clear reminder of the boundary I finally established. Setting limits did not make me selfish. It made me mentally sound. My primary lesson: love lacking respect is merely dependence disguised as obligation. And peace is rarely quiet. Sometimes it arrives immediately after you hit cancel. If you have ever needed to distance yourself from others to safeguard your peace, understand this. You are not heartless. You are healing. Share your story and subscribe, because the next story might mirror yours exactly.